Hello, welcome. Just trying to get this lined up correctly. Hello, Facebook people. I am back with the weekly live. Today we are talking about how to do more in less time without the stress and overwhelm. So the key is to not stress yourself out, but to get a lot done in a short amount of time. So kind of like how they say work smarter, not harder. Welcome to all the new people in the community. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Tina Stinson. I am a certified holistic health coach and professional life coach and culinary nutrition educator, and I focus on plant-based nutrition. I feel crooked. It is crooked. It's like leaning. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. I'm happy. That would have thrown me off the whole time. So welcome, everyone. I just want to get started right away because I don't want to be in here too long. It's a beautiful day here today. It's supposed to be, I'm in the Northeast, so it's supposed to be in the high 60s, and I'm wearing kind of like this heavy sweatshirt, and I'm a little hot, to be honest with you, but I should be good when I go outside. So, my dogs have been sick for the past 7 days since I picked them up from the kennel. I was away for just 2 days, that's it, and they've been sick for 7. So today is the first day that everybody's better. I think we're out of the woods. It was absolutely horrible. I wasn't getting a lot of sleep. So I feel pretty good this morning because I slept through the night last night. And I'm just happy that my dogs are better. When my dogs aren't well, I am so stressed out. So this is very timely. This is the kind of thing I love to talk about. I love talking about self-care. You have to really put that on the forefront at the most important times to do that, to put self-care on the forefront, is when you feel like you have the least amount of time to do that. I have such a tickle. Hold on. But today we're going to be talking about, like I said, doing more in less time. So what that really entails is being really intentional about your time. So I'm going to give you, I think there's 3 ways. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I did 4 ways. So these are my notes. So I did these the other night when I was delirious. So I don't remember. I have to stick to notes because, believe it or not, even though when I go live here every week, I'm always a little bit nervous and I babble a little bit. So I like to go back to my notes. So I usually write a blog post about whatever I want to speak on, and then I use that as kind of like a script. So that's what I'm looking at when you see me looking at something. I'm looking at the notes on my phone. Do you get that? I'm very raspy today. I've been raking a ton of leaves last weekend to get them all on top of the gardens before it snows. Doesn't look like it's going to be snowing anytime soon, though. So, I'm always looking for ways to be more intentional with my time. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or if I'm beginning to realize how important time is, or after I had my stroke, it really became apparent how important the way you spend your time is. Whatever it is, I know for a fact that it's my most precious resource. It's just one of the most important, most valuable things in my life, and none of us really treat it that way. Some of us do. Some of us do sometimes, but and myself included, I'm not an expert at this. I definitely do things where I waste my time, like TikTok, for instance. That's just a huge time waster for me. So this week I'm going to be setting up some rules. Like, I'm a little kid on TikTok. I can't stop. It's so funny. I just find TikTok hilarious. It cracks me up. I find that the people on there are so funny. So today I'm going to share with you some of the things that have worked brilliantly for me, so good. And also my clients, I use this with my clients too, and I call it time expansion, because what you're doing is you're doing self-care practices to help expand the amount of time that you have to spend on the good things and spending less time on the things that you don't want to do. You're also decluttering and setting boundaries to create more time for yourself. So it's all these little things that you do that add up to all this time. You can create, I always tell people, you could probably create an extra hour in every day if you do some of these practices meticulously and you work really hard through them. So the first one is know what's important to you. So what's important to me isn't going to be important to you. So if I share my exact practices with you, it's not going to be helpful to you because you really have to know what your core values are. And so what I tell people to do is to look at every area of your life and write out a core value statement. And that's basically what's important to you in that area. Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself? What is the most important way you want to feel in that area in your body, right? So, like, write out a core value for every area. And I'm talking about, like, let me see. So, your health, your fitness, your money, your career, your all your relationships. So, like, your love relationships, your friend relationships, your family relationships, um, your spirituality, your I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anything out. But all the different areas of your life, just write out a core value statement for that. Um, yeah, a lot of us spend time most of our time during the day going through the motions. We're in autopilot, and our brain is supposed to do this because your brain actually uses the most energy in your body. And that's why we have that autopilot like built in for all those normal things that we do. And so, really starting to pay attention is the first step. Like, pay attention to how you're spending your time. Like, when you're doing all the different little things, like getting up and making coffee or breakfast or getting ready for work, pay attention and be more intentional, be more like in the present moment with that time. Okay, when you after you write out your core values, what you could do is then you can take the time to compare your core values to every area in your life and look at the things that you're doing every day and seeing whether those things kind of like match up. So, am I spending at least 80% of my time working towards like my core values, working in that alignment, right? And if you're not, then that's like a red flag. That's when you have to wake up and say, okay, let me hop off the hamster wheel and pay attention to how I'm spending my time, because at the end of our lives, like I'm sure at the end of my life, I'm not going to say, gee, it was awesome that I spent all that freaking time on TikTok, right? Like, no, that's not what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, God, you wasted a lot of fucking time on TikTok. So that's why it's about finding out what your core values are, and then lining that up with your actions. Okay? And most of us, and don't be alarmed if you really like you're going through an entire day and you're not spending time on a lot of the things that you really want to, because that's pretty normal in today's society. But it is the only person that can change that is you. So you have to first know what you want, what's important to you, know what's important to you. So if like your main thing in life and the most important thing to you is your family and making the best experience for your family, then that should be where you spend a lot of your time. Okay, but if it's building a business or um, working for a certain charity, or maybe it's like with me, I love gardening. That's like a really important thing in my life. Just make sure that you're spending time doing those things and slowly. I'm not saying to like just cut everything off and then start doing 100% of everything in alignment with your core values. No, like gradually add those things in and then keep reevaluating and looking at those. And when you write your core value statements out, which is usually just a sentence or two sentences, um, keep them somewhere where you can look at them every day. So you can look at them every day when you wake up in the morning. If you're the type of person who journals every morning, you can look at it before you journal every morning. But that's number one. Number two, know your why. So what is your why? I've talked about this before in here. Your why is why you're doing something, why it's important. Okay, so if you have a goal or a job or a business or a relationship or a hobby, whatever it is, you need to know why that's important to you, so that when things get tough or when things get hard, and they always do, things always get hard at some point, you don't want to give up. You want to go back to your why and figure out how how you're going to go back to your why and use that as inspiration. Sorry, I got distracted. I just saw something on my phone. distracting. Phones are just distracting, right? I apologize. So your why is really like your support system. It's what you go to help you like keep going, stay strong, stay inspired, all those things. So that's the second thing. So then the third thing, and I find this is like one of my favorite things to do, is to declutter your mind, declutter your space, and declutter your processes. So by decluttering your mind, um, you know, what I'm really talking about is making space for the new. So it's the same thing as decluttering your space. So say you have a drawer, you're going to clean out that drawer. It makes space for new. It makes your processes work better because everything is less cluttered. All these three things, the mind, space, and the processes, all work together. Um, they all help each other and they all feed off of each other. So decluttering the mind is like it's about getting all those things done and handling any difficult conversations right at that moment instead of letting them sit. Because what happens is when you let them sit because you don't want to deal with them because it's uncomfortable, is it's a stress loop in your head. That's what I call it, a stress loop, because it keeps going round and round in your head every single day. And if you don't do it, you'll spend time worrying about that, thinking about it every single day and night. And how long do we sometimes put things off for? Couple weeks sometimes, right? That appointment we need to make for like our pap smear, or calling the bank about like an unknown charge, or a difficult conversation that you need to have with a friend or your in-laws or something, right? So it's about handling it right away so it's not stress looping in your head and you're not spending time. This is where you gain time. Remember I talked about creating time and space. It's about not spending time thinking about something that could have been done already. And you all know what I'm talking about because when you finally do it, light is hitting me really weird. When you finally do it, I get like a dot on my face. You feel so good. It's just like even when you declutter a drawer, you feel so good when you declutter something. So get it done. Find a way to get it done. Now, I talked about finding your why and your core values. I have a couple of um, podcast episodes about this that I could share with you. I went through the exercise, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, right on here about how to find your why. So you could just look back at the previous lives and figure out your why in every area. It's just a series of questions to ask yourself. And the core value exercise I also did in here, and it's a matter of a few questions you could ask yourself too to figure out your core values. So if you need help in those areas, I don't want to leave you hanging. I already talked about them on here, and you could just go back to the previous videos. So what I'll do is I'll probably tag them. Actually, I'll put the links below for the YouTube videos, so you can go watch them there whenever you want, so you don't have to search through the Facebook page. Now, decluttering your space is also magical. We all know how that feels. It's pretty self-explanatory. You clean something out, you feel great. You always feel good when you clear the space. Why is that? Why do you feel so good? Because it clears the energy. It opens you up to the new. You clean out the old, you make space for the new. So if you want new clothes, if you want new whatever, you want new shoes, clean out the space that you have already and get rid of the old and welcome in new. Also, when you declutter, you keep the space in flow. So you know how in your home when things are messy and really cluttery, everything's hard to find, everything's hard to do, everything takes longer. So here comes that saving time again. So when things are cluttery, you waste a lot of time because you got like things in the way. Things are getting in your space. You can't find things. So sometimes things take twice as long, right? So when things are decluttered, things work smoother. You know where everything is. And so a lot of these exercises take some work up front, but in the long run, the time that you'll save and the stress that you'll lose and you'll get rid of will be like it's magical. It's worth the time to go through these practices. And then when I talk about decluttering the processes, that's what I mean by that is the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. So like getting ready for work, your workout, cooking dinner, getting your kids off to school, whatever process that you use, look at that process and say, how can I make this easier? How can I make this better? How can I spend less time to get through this process? Unless you don't want to, unless you like, if you really enjoy cooking and you just want to be in the kitchen and put the music on or whatever, then fine. But those processes that you want to be efficient, like getting ready for work or your workout, like all those things, look at them and think about how you can make them better. So, for example, your workout. So, say you go to the gym and you go to work out. So, picking a gym that's either close to your house or close to your job. If you work from home, close to your house, less of a drive, easier to get to. Okay, have your things ready the night before, put them in a gym bag. If you don't pack a gym bag, just have your water bottle ready. Whatever it is that you need to be ready, do it the night before so that you could just be out the door and go. What else can you do to make it easier? What else can you make it go do to make it go smoother? You could do it with a friend. So when you have a friend, you have like accountability. So when they know that we're meeting at the gym at 9 o'clock this morning, you're less likely to bail out on another person, which is really sad. We bail out on ourselves so quickly, but not on another person. So that's what I'm talking about when I say decluttering your processes. So declutter the mind, the space, and the processes. Like I said, this all takes work up front, but the amount of time that you'll create for yourself and you'll save and the stress that you can reduce is absolutely magical. Okay, lastly, learn how to say no. So this is a big one for a lot of people. Saying no can be really difficult, especially if you're like a top-notch people pleaser like I used to be. And so what I want you to practice and what I want you to realize is that no is a complete sentence. And I know you hear this all the time, and sometimes it might sound rude to just go no and like not say anything else after that. You feel like you have to fill that empty space. But what I mean by no is a complete sentence is you don't have to say no and then give an excuse. But you can still be polite when you say no. So instead of saying, oh no, and like making something up like, oh, I have this other thing I have to do and I have to do this and I'm so busy and no, I can't. You could just say, oh my God, thank you for thinking of me, but I really can't do it at this time. That's it. No explanation needed. You're still being polite. Or like, I'm trying to think of another example of what I you could say no to. But there's ways to do it politely and still not make up excuses. You owe nobody an excuse. Time is your most important resource that you have. Treat it that way. A lot of us don't treat our time that way. Make sure that you're being very intentional. If it's not a hell yes, when someone asks you to do something, if you're not like feeling it in your body as a hell yes, then it might be a hell no. Another thing that people feel like they don't have permission to do is to not answer right away. Like, think about it. If you need to think about it, just say, oh, I'll think about that. I'll get back to you. And if they need to answer right away, then you could just say, if you feel too pressured, you could just say, I'm sorry, I can't at this time. That's it. You don't have to be like, because of this, or because of that. Because I want to go home and think about it. I'm not sure if it's a hell yes. Like, you don't have to say that. You could just say, I need to think about it. If they're unwilling to wait or they can't wait because of time constraints, then I would say you can make a decision right then and there to just like leave it behind. It's not meant to be. It wasn't meant to happen at that time. So learning to say no is really about setting boundaries, right? And that's a really big thing. Let me see if I'm forgetting something. But those are the four things. Those four things I use religiously in my life. I'm not perfect at them, but I use them religiously in my life and they protect my energy. They create more time in my life so that I could do more things that I love and spend less time on the things that I don't want to do. You need to look at a task every time you're doing something, you need to look at it and say, do I want to ditch this? Do I want to do this or do I want to delegate it? And if I'm going to do this, is it a hell yes? And if it's not a hell yes, how can I make it better? Because sometimes we have to do things like we obviously have to take care of our kids, right? And sometimes we might not be feeling it that day. How can I make it better? How can I make it easier? I'm tired. How can I make this day easier for myself? That's all. That's all it's about, being more intentional about your time. You create so much more space, you reduce stress, and you get more done when things are efficient. That's what I'm talking about, the title of this whole talk. So when you're more intentional about your time, you know where you want to spend your time, your core values, you're going to get more of what you want done. And the key here is what you want, right? So sometimes we don't get a lot done because we're not even working on the things that we want to work on. We're spending, like 75% of our day doing this for that person, do this for that person, this for that person, then you beat yourself up and you're like, I never get to, like, say you're writing a book, I never get to spend time to write my book. What's wrong with me? I'm procrastinating, I'm lazy. That's a bunch of bullshit. You're just not spending time on the things that you want to. Reevaluate everything. Look at it from a different point of view. Is this a hell yes? And if it's not, how can I ditch, delegate, or do it in a better way? Okay. I hope this was really helpful. If you have any questions, just put them below. You can email me at tina@tinastinson.com. Also, I have a whole little masterclass, a 3-day masterclass. It's called the Time Expansion Masterclass. I'll put the link below. It's really cool. It comes with a workbook and everything. So if you want to go deeper into these, some of these practices and some other ones, I think there's some differences in the master class. So, but if you want to go deeper into these practices and learn how to create more time and space for yourself with less stress, then definitely check out the master class. It's a really good one. Okay, I will see you next week. Let me just think. I wanted to tell you guys about something. Oh yeah. Today's the first day of November book club. So the book club book pick is, that's like, I can't say that really good, is Radical Acceptance by Tara Brock, I think Brock. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly. So we're starting that one today. If you want, I could put the link. I believe the link's right on this page. I've posted it before, but I would love to have you if you're interested. It's a podcast style book club, so you don't really have to participate unless you want to. It's the kind of thing where you could just kind of listen along, or you could get involved in the comments. It's really whatever you want to do. But I would love to have you. It's a lot of fun. Next month's book, we're probably going to do something lighter. I let you guys pick, so I always do a survey every month, and whatever book gets picked the most, that's the one that we do. Also, I just released a blog post today. It's where me and 3 other coaches gave our own personal top self care practices. So each coach gave a couple of different self care practices. So there's so much good information on there. And each coach put a freebie on that page. So, which is really cool. So there's like 4 freebies on there. So definitely check out that blog post. I posted that on this page today also. And my freebie was 30 days of self care. So I created this checklist for myself so that when I'm feeling really stressed and I need to like chill and I need to add, like, I know I need some self care, I have these really quick, simple self care practices that you could add in your day like that, like really like, and there's 30 days. So you could just have like this little checklist. I keep it at my desk and I look at it and I could just check one off and say, okay, I'm going to do that one today, and I get it done. And it always makes my day better. Always. Okay. So if you want to grab that, definitely check out the blog post and learn about all the different tips in there. I think that's about it for now. So I'll put like a million links below in the comments for you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.